Hello good people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Since we started this series of digital entrepreneurship, communication and etiquette in the workplace, majority of you have been asking me questions in regards to speaking eloquently and speaking in public. Today we have a guest with us. We are going to discuss about public speaking and the chances that we will answer majority of the questions you have about public speaking. Eric Gavala is an old friend of mine. We met while on internship at Royal Media Services in 2012.
Yes.
Yeah, in 2012. And today he's a producer and he also has his own YouTube channel. I will allow you guys to figure out what his channel is. We will tell you more about it at the end of this video. So Eric, karibu to Writers Fantasy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So today we want to discuss about public speaking.
Okay.
Because it's something majority of my followers ask about.
Yeah.
People want to know if I speak the way I speak because I was trained to speak like that, or if it's something I have observed over time and picked up,
yeah,
or if it's something that it's inborn.
Okay.
So I would like now to discuss that with you, and I'd like, because this is something we've done together.
Yeah.
In the past, and we've also discussed it. So I thought you'd be the best person to come in and have this conversation.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
So let's start with first, who qualifies to be called a good public speaker, and then how do you become a public speaker?
Okay. Thank you for having me here. Yeah. So public speaking, well, back in 2012, we had a few sessions with a very good public speaker. I think he's one of the best in the country, in Kenya. And every morning we had sessions with him, basically just taking us through how to become an effective public speaker. And I think those lessons helped us quite a bit because Royal Media Services, we were right in front of the camera. Yeah. You have to speak well. When you do the, we call them piece to cameras, yeah, they're called PTCs. It's all about speaking. So TV is about what you say, how you say it, do people relate with it, do they understand it? So that was all about it. But there's a much bigger world to public speaking. I think I boil it down to the thing that is important to me. The most important thing to a public speaker is attention. If you don't have attention of the person you're trying to communicate to, whether it's a group of people, whether it's a person, whether it's a business meeting, if you don't have the attention, you've lost it. Yeah. So to me, I know some people might say something different, but to me, I think that's the most important bit. Attention. That's something which it's non-negotiable. So as an effective public speaker, off the bat, the thing which you need to have or to strive to have is attention. So in the very first seconds, I think 10-20 seconds, what you're trying to do to connect with your audience, you need to capture their attention. Yeah. So what do you do to be able to do that? Many guys have different things to be able to do that. 10-20 seconds. I don't advocate for people to start their speeches immediately. You know, you can be talking about commerce or economics or comedy. Some people even think that someone's in church. You know, you need to be a good public speaker to be able to do that. Okay, I don't want to go that direction, but that's something which, you know, whatever subject or whatever subject matter you're trying to, you know, have, attention is something you need to get in the first 10 seconds. Yeah. And many guys use props. I know some of your subscribers might be business people, and they're wondering, maybe in a business setup, how do you come in with a rabbit, for example, as a prop, because you want to communicate to that person effectively. So basically, a prop just needs to be something that your audience doesn't understand the significance of it in that communication.
For example, in this setup of ours, we could say, "Oh, nice plant."
Exactly.
Yeah.
If
the fertilizer.
Exactly.
What are you using to
What are you using to grow it?
Yeah.
But for me, I think I would, let's say for example, this glass of water. If I was just speaking from the direction was from me to you, and you're not speaking back, let's say for half an hour, I have to make a presentation to you. I'll have to find a creative way to make this glass significant to the topic I'm trying to speak to you about. So you won't understand it because the topic is public speaking. Where does a glass come in? So you have to be creative. You don't just pick anything and and use it. Yeah, exactly. But the plant works very well. The glass can work very well. So for people who are trying to be good public speakers, do your homework. Try and understand the topic which you have and what prop can suit your audience or that situation. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. One is mostly on if you're going to someone's office or if you're speaking on a one-on-one and it's somebody that you're not really friends with, or you don't know each other, it's the first introduction, then you might need a prop or something to break the ice, to make things easier for your conversation. Let's talk about if you're speaking in public. For example, you're speaking to a gathering 10, 10 going forward
and up.
How would you introduce yourself and break ice with people? Now let me start with this. For me, what I do is I actually admit it to my audience. Tell them, you people, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I need you to make me feel comfortable. If we lock eyes, be nice. So I try and break ice by being very honest about how I feel. I don't know what your approach would be.
That's nice. I think that's something that's nice because the audience will crack up and they'll loosen up, you know, especially if it's people you've not met. So I have a different approach. I might, depending on the topic and also the people I'm speaking to, I might decide to interact with the audience. Right, to have them engaging with me. So I might have a provocative question. For example, which question could it be? Okay, let me just first run through. So it could be a provocative question. It could be humor, just to get in there and let the people laugh. You know. But you have to be really careful. You have to be humorous. You have to be funny, because there's nothing bad as having your joke, you know, crash flat on its face, and people would be like, you'd lose them immediately. You know. So I use humor, and I also use provocative questions. I don't know if you've seen this. Some skilled speech people who give speeches, they might come into a room and say, show of hands, tell me, what do you think of this? You've seen that? Or something like, oh, I see there are a lot of black people in this room. Hi, my people from Africa. You know, something like that. That's something that gets the audience relaxed. They know, hey, we can relate to this person. So by doing that, you have done something very important. Like I said about capturing attention. So having people engage with you and interact with you straight off the bat. By the time you are introducing your topic, while you're actually there, they are listening. You haven't lost them, because you see, it's a process of, it's like buttering someone up. You know how like a kid would want to ask for something from the mom, and the kid is like, mom, you look nice today.
You're the best mom in the world.
Exactly, such stuff. You're like buttering them up, and you have their attention. You tell them nice things. The mom engages with the kid. So the same thing is what I like to do. By doing that, you have their attention, and if it's astrophysics I want to talk to them about, they'll listen.
So how do we maintain them? This is a struggle even for me, and I think we were discussing before we went on air that even on my YouTube channel, the retention of viewers, it reaches a point where you're sure 4 or 5 minutes in, if you go past there, you're sure people will start dropping off. And it even happens when you're speaking to people in real life. They will listen, and then at some point they will start dropping off. So how do we maintain
their attention?
Yes, to the end, because we'll start with cracking up, and then we'll get to the issue at hand. But how do you deliver the information
Okay.
that should be,
Yeah.
while maintaining their interest at the same time.
Okay, that's a very nice question. Basically, I think what separates the men and the machines, but in this case, you don't have machines. What separates the pros from the people who are still learning or coming up is the ability to use stories. You see, public speaking is a lot like sales.
Yeah.
You're trying to have this person convinced about your opinion or your take on a controversial topic, or basically you are educating them about something. And it's a lot like sales, whether you want this person to have your attention and to buy. You see, closing someone is different from just rambling on.
Yeah.
So I like to use stories. The human mind relates better to stories. You can come in and talk to someone about graphs and figures and statistics and all of these numbers, and the human brain will just go past it. But for you to capture and retain the attention of your audience, you can lace your presentation with stories that relate to the topic at hand. So that way you don't lose their interest in the story. If you could go deeper while you're telling the story, don't be robotic. If you could tell a story and let the characters in your story come alive, basically you're telling your story in the present tense. You act out the story. For example, let's say you're giving people a story. I'm in a talk about economics, for example, and we're in the thick of it, and I see I'm losing some people, or some people maybe they are removing their phones and stuff, and this is something that happens off the cuff. You can decide to throw in a story, and what makes it interesting is let's say, for example, you're saying, okay, I was having a conversation with my dad on phone. So I was like, hi dad, are you proud of me? I got an A, or I managed to do this and that. And then you go, son, there's no way you did that. Please make sure that you do this and this and your homework. You see, I'm acting it out.
You're role playing.
I'm role playing. It's much more interesting, and I have my my audience's attention just completely opposite compared to plain facts, which is economics. So if you act out and make the characters come alive with those stories which you lace in your presentation, you find that you have an audience that is with you to the end. So that's one thing I've seen effective communicators use.
I would also add giving examples.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know, but it works for me.
Okay.
When you're talking with people about something, most people will want to see it in action. For example, if I was speaking with people about becoming great marketers or becoming great salespeople, it would be great for me to take, for example, a biro and say, let's use this glass because it's here.
Okay.
Say, no, this glass, it's high quality, it can drop, it won't break, you know. It keeps everything fresh.
Yes.
If that makes sense. But you'd use examples of things they can relate with. At the same time, conveying the message that you want them to get from it.
Very true.
Yeah, I think examples also work.
That makes a lot of sense. Basically, what you're trying to do is not to have a lecture. You see, lecturing and making speeches are completely different. They're from different worlds. We have the great speech makers of yesteryears. When you watch such speeches, it's quite different from when you're in a lecture room learning about whatever. It's very different.
True.
Because the speeches which inspire, which they make you to want to stand up and act for change, and press for something, maybe from the government, or maybe which is inspiring you to take up aviation, for example. They have to boil your interest. So they have to kick something in you to be able to act.
True.
Yeah.
And I think at this point we should include a clip from the recent happenings, because a lot of things are happening in this world.
Yeah.
And there are many speeches that have been made in regards to George Floyd's death recently in the US. And some of the speeches were made to trigger people's emotions or to trigger action from people. We'll insert that.
Sure.
Just so that people can have a feel of what we mean with public speaking and giving speeches.
Sure.
This is a coordinated activity happening across this nation, and so we are in a state of emergency. Black people are dying in a state of emergency. We cannot look at this as an isolated incident. The reason why buildings are burning are not just for our brother George Floyd. They're burning down because people here in Minnesota are saying to people in New York, to people in California, to people in Memphis, to people all across this nation, enough is enough. And we are not responsible for the mental illness that has been inflicted upon our people by the American government, institutions, and those people who are in positions of power. I don't give a damn if they burn down Target, because Target should be on the streets with us, calling for the justice that our people deserve. Where was AutoZone at the time when Philando Castile was shot in a car, which is what they actually represent? Where were they? So if you are not coming to the people's defense, then don't challenge us when young people and other people who are frustrated and instigated by the people you pay. You are paying instigators to be among our people out there throwing rocks, breaking windows, and burning down buildings. And so young people are responding to that. They are enraged, and there's an easy way to stop it. Arrest the cops. Charge the cops. Charge all the cops. Not just some of them, not just here in Minneapolis. Charge them in every city across America where our people are being murdered. Charge them everywhere. That's the bottom line. Charge the cops. Do your job. Do what you say this country is supposed to be about, the land of the free for all. It has not been free for black people, and we are tired. Don't talk to us about looting. Y'all are the looters. America has looted black people. America looted the Native Americans when they first came here. So looting is what you do. We learned it from you. We learned violence from you. We learned violence from you. The violence was what we learned from you. So if you want us to do better, then damn it, you do better.
Basically, as a public speaker, eloquence is something which you don't want to take for granted. And what is eloquence? Basically, you have to have a free flow of ideas, to be fluent and coherent in whatever it is you're talking to your audience about.
Our way of communicating would be different if with someone who maybe you speak Luya and I'm speaking with you in Kikuyu, in Luya, but my main language is Kikuyu. I'd be very self-conscious of my accent. I'll be very self-conscious of my diction, how I'm pronouncing words, how I'm saying things like that.
Yeah.
Is it possible to drop an accent? And I don't mean only in English.
Yeah. A lot of evidence. If you go online, there are very many courses whereby people have invested, researched, and come up with these courses to teach people to correct their diction.